And so what, Safi?
So they decided that the circus master Chris Christopherson decides that he's going to change the whole circus. He Pee Wee allowed him to see this hot dog tree, and it gave him an idea that he would do a family farm themed oriented circus.
Again, he's just stealing all of Pee Wee's stuff and repurposing it for his stupid
And he,
carnival.
I mean, it's really, and they have to change their costumes so they're all like farm related, and they're
Yeah.
really nice. It's a beautiful. It looks like a P.T. Barnum, a miniature of it anyway, a circus with all the beautiful costumery, and so anyway, I don't know what. I can't remember why he decides to
We
go.
were talking about the adults.
Well, yeah, but he goes into Pee Wee goes into town, takes these cocktail
There's no
wieners.
customers because they're
Yeah,
the
there's no
only
customers.
in town.
That's right.
Apparently.
No customers for the circus. So he decides that all the adults are in the store where he had to get a cheese sandwich and they wouldn't let him and they were mean.
And a pickle.
And a pickle. And
he gives the wieners to them.
yeah, he puts them on a plate like he's serving hors d'oeuvres at a party. And they said, "Oh wow, these are good." And they all eat them. And guess what happens?
They all become children.
And guess what? They want to go see the circus.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Oh, yeah.
And so they all troop out and go do the circus. And of course, we didn't even touch on this. Pee Wee, he wants to be a part of the circus too. This is the part, like I said, it's an unresolved storyline. Is he going to do this act with all of his animals forever, or is this a one-time thing for tonight? I don't know.
And they don't answer that. They don't answer what happens to the town because remember this town, there's no storekeeper, there's no restaurant people. All the people in town are children.
Or children.
And so that's really kind of weird. They could have just said one line about, oh, it wears off after time, because then the hot dogs didn't shrink out, didn't came back to normal size, and like they could have done something like simple like that, but they're too lazy. Too lazy.
Yeah, and I don't think it would have taken that much effort. That's why I say all they have to do is add a few lines, make a few tweaks, and which is what people do when they edit a book or a story.
Well, it seemed like the whole point, like they thought the whole point to this movie was to just show the circus happen. Like, oh, as long as we had the circus happen, that means this movie is complete and nothing else matters. That's what it seemed like. And the reason why I called the blonde woman a slut earlier in the review is because at the end of this movie, it's revealed that that the blonde woman, that she's in a relation, a quote, marriage with all 5 Italian men who are brothers, which
they're
is
in the circus.
also very gross. And so she is a slut in my opinion, and probably Safi's opinion.
I don't know. I didn't think anything about it. I just thought it's something that isn't real.
It was dopey.
You can't marry more than one person. It's against the law.
Yeah, well, it's dopey, and it's not funny, and it has nothing of substance to add to this plot, and to add to this experience. So, is there anything else you want to touch on, Safi?
No.
Like him making out with the Italian woman?
No, I don't. Big deal.
He does that over and over again, it seems like. It's like...
Well, like I said, he's an adult. All he's been doing for the last 2 years, which is when the Playhouse show was on, was appeal to children. And he was very good at it, by the way. I liked it. I thought it was really cute. But he is an adult. He's in show business. He wants to do a movie or something where he's an adult. That's what I think.
It doesn't work because the movie is trying to be a kids movie too.
But I just think that's a facade, really.
It is a facade.
I don't think it's real, and I don't think he meant for it. They were using, because that's what people know him for. So, it's just like anybody else. They like to get stars who people know. It gives them more box office revenue. So if you weren't making a movie, everybody knows who Pee Wee Herman is. I mean, in the movie, it's Big Top Pee Wee.
That's what
It's
the movie's
not Big
called.
Top Paul Rubens. It's Big Top Pee Wee. So, so what are they doing? They're trying to appeal to this certain fan that has supported him for a couple of years now to watch this movie, to go, because this is at the theater, to buy tickets. But really, it was a facade. To get you, be able to get him
To make out with this Italian woman.
To have adult relationships with women.
That's what I just
like
said.
An adult.
And so.
Not a children's cartoon-like character, which is what he was, even though.
And so.
There's nothing cartoony about it. It's a real film.
Is this a kids movie?
No.
No.
Not at all. Just a little bit at the beginning and the circus part at the end, where he actually he wanted to be a part of the circus too. Of course, they've been at his farm. They have all these people. They all do different things. Some have animals, and there's an elephant. There's a lion. I can't even imagine how these animals were treated in real life. I don't even want to think about it. And there's the aerialist. Maybe that's what you call when you get up at the top of a rope and somebody down below spins the rope and you're flying around the rope and just holding on by both of your hands. And you look like a human flag. Well, he tried everything and it didn't work. And finally it ends up, since this is a spoiler review, or the spoiler part of the review, he is a high wire walker, and all of his farm animals follow him on this wire, which I don't believe it. No. Somehow they had a horse, they had a pig, they had everything walking on the wire behind him, following. And he had a costume that the quote Italian girl gave him. He wore that.
It belonged to her father.
It belonged to her father. And so that was, quote, his act. That's why I was wondering, is he going to be in the circus now? And because they told him they are leaving soon.
And they made that a conflict. She said,
yeah.
Oh, why would you want to be with me? I'm in a circus and we're going to leave soon.
Yeah.
And she's like, I wouldn't want you to be mad at me for making you come on the circus.
Yeah, so anyway, I think we've done enough.
Well, you went on a long tangent, and I wanted to quickly go over what we would do, what I would do, and what we think would work instead, I guess I would say. What about if they made this whole movie about Pee-wee escaping the city life like the original concept, and the whole movie would be about him trying to make a farm work, and maybe the townspeople would be so mean to him because they would have this wrong perception of him being like, oh, he's a famous person, he's not a nice person, he's just gonna screw everything up for us. Like, they could have had that be the movie, like him struggling to do his farm and to have all these animals, and that would have been a really charming and funny movie for kids, of course. And then number two, number two, you could have made the circus people the villains, and that would have been even better. That would have been more of the adult movie in me, because the carnival, the circus people, they weren't good people. They were criminals, and that's how they're presented in this movie. And so maybe you could have made that the whole movie, because they do that kind of the beginning with they suggest that Pee-wee will put up with anything. And so what if these circus people what if the whole movie's about them taking advantage of Pee-wee, and just over and over and over again, and like you as the audience, you're wondering when is Pee-wee gonna stop putting up with this, and grow a pair, and finally stand up to them, and then the whole last part of the movie could have been like, I don't know what you could have done with the last part, but that would have been a good movie too. A lot better than this movie. What do you think, Safi? Wouldn't it have been better than this movie at
Yeah,
least?
yeah. Well, like I said, it was like an unfinished sweater.
It was not finished.
And there were too many.
So,
And the thing I just blows my mind that they had that chunk at the beginning because it was supposed to be a different movie, and where he was really a like a singing star who had a lot of fans. And I just thought the way they presented it was just a dream.
that's what they wanted. That's what they did in this movie. And so that it's good that I found that trivia on IMDb, because if you didn't know that trivia, then you would say, what the F is up with that scene at the beginning? That stupid scene where he can't even sing, and
And
he's
it doesn't.
singing some stupid song in a club, and then there's some stupid running scene. Oh, it's a dream.
And it doesn't make sense. Here he is. He's a children's TV host, and he's very goofy and cartoony, and it's so antithetical to what he really does. And then you go to that farm. The farm is like at the beginning in ways what he does in his TV show. And so anyway, yeah, they needed to do something else. I just think if they made a few tweaks here and there, they would have had a composed, thought out movie. And instead, it was
Yeah.
kind of like all over the place.
All over the place. And it should have just stuck to being one thing. If they wanted to make an adult Pee-wee movie, and I would have liked that, and if they wanted to do that, then just do that. But don't sit here and pretend that this is a kids movie, and that this is made for kids, and that kids want to sit around and watch this grown man make out with this Italian woman for 20 minutes straight, because that's not what kids like watching. Just in case you didn't know that. And let's not, if it has come across like I'm saying that the Italian woman is a bad actress, that is not the case. Her character though is basically a stereotype, and she has nothing to her, but she's still an okay actress. And so if she had had a better script, then maybe I would have had more to say about her than just she is his makeout material in this movie. So
Okay, well, I
that's
think we should
it.
wrap it up, okay?
Yeah, you're about to fall asleep.
All right, well, so what are we doing next, Marco? And then also, don't forget, we will be at the Midwest Comic Con in,
No, it's called the Ace Midwest Comic Con.
okay, in Chicago at Rosemont at the Daniel Stevens Convention Center, and I'm going to try to do some live footage.
We will be finishing up this kids movie month so that we can move on
to Halloween.
Yeah, to the
horror.
scary
Yeah.
month. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.